All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, we're just hours away from the imposed deadline for Major League Baseball to have a full 162 game slate for the regular season here in 2022. Now, both sides are still very far apart on a deal, which was highlighted by things getting heated yesterday between the players and the owners. Now, the players and owners have met with each other for the past 8 days in Florida, but my thing has been, and it's been since day one, where was this sense of urgency 3 months ago? We saw the owners lock out the players back in December. And, for me, there were negotiations even before that. And the bottom line is, there just never seemed to be a sense of urgency. They got locked out. Okay, we'll meet in like 2 or 3 weeks. Meet for a couple of minutes. Okay, then you're out the door. Okay, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And finally, now all of a sudden, there seems to be a sense of urgency. But honestly, that should have been the case from day one. I don't think anybody thought it was going to get to this point. But the bottom line is, it is. And honestly, after looking at at the first round of negotiations, at the beginning of this lockout. I said it then and I will say it now. I really would be surprised if we have baseball this year because due to the fact that they're so far apart, the owners are really trying to squeeze the players. And one of the biggest issues, is service time. And, we've seen some of these teams over the years really milk that in regards to the service time. Some of these guys are more than worthy to make the team out of spring training. And, Vlad Guerrero and Chris Bryant are two guys recently to come to mind with that, with what the Blue Jays and Cubs did to them respectively. They held them back for a month or so just so they can get that additional year of service time. And sometimes that things like that really cause contention between player and team. And of course, Chris Bryant is no longer a Chicago Cub. He got traded to the Giants last year, and who knows where he's going to play next as he is a free agent. But that is just one example of it. And to me, I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it: the lockout did not have to happen. As this is just about greed from the owners. The owners didn't have to lock out the players. They could have let the CBA expire, but they also still could have worked behind the scenes very quietly in order to get a new deal done. They've put this out there in the public. They've aired out all of their dirty laundry. And at the end of the day, nobody's going to come out of this a winner. Nobody's going to come out of this smelling like a rose. I said it again and I will continue to say it. Don't expect a full 162 game slate this year. I don't see them working out all of the parameters of a deal between now and tomorrow's deadline. Rob Manfred, the MLB commissioner, he is taking a beating publicly for this, but at the end of the day, he's the commissioner. He works for the owners. So at the end of the day, he's just simply doing their bidding. And all this is going to do at the end of the day is hurt Major League Baseball and its waning popularity. Baseball is no longer America's sport. And I say that from the standpoint in regards to popularity. The NFL and NBA are light years ahead of Major League Baseball right now in regards to popularity. I've talked about MLB losing the spring to the NBA, NHL, and college basketball, as well as the NFL draft. Then you're going to have the Stanley Cup playoffs, the NBA playoffs as well. And then by the time that the summer rolls around, people aren't even talking about baseball like they were once upon a time, as people are really focusing on training camps opening in the National Football League. They're also focusing on the beginning of an NFL season. And honestly, you look at the past couple of years when the World Series rolled around, it was an afterthought. People weren't focused on the World Series like they were once upon a time, and that falls into the lap of Rob Manfred. That falls into the lap of Major League Baseball as a whole, as they are allowing and they have allowed their product to take a back seat. And I mean, you think about it, the World Series and the All-Star games are the marquee events for baseball. And people don't or no longer talk about those events in the light that they did once upon a time. And that just shows you right there how the popularity for this sport is going downwards. You look at like some of the contention that is going on right now between the owners and the players. And a lot of it is coming from the small market owners as they are running the room, as it's more small market owners than it is big market owners. And of course, the small market owners want something for nothing. And most of them, for the most part, don't want to spend the bread. And, you look at the luxury tax situation, and of course, the players don't want it. Some of the big market owners, like new Mets owner Steve Cohen, he's willing to spend the bread. But at the end of the day, you're penalizing big market teams for wanting to go out there and spend big bucks. And at the end of the day, like I've said this for several years now. I've said it on a podcast recently with my friends from the Small Market podcast that if you're going to have such a hard cap at the top where you're penalizing teams with the luxury tax, you have to have a floor to the salary. If teams cannot spend more than $150 million on salary, then you know what? There has to be a minimum of 75 million that needs to be spent by each team around baseball because this is part of what is doing a disservice. The bottom line is this is not going to get done by the deadline tomorrow because there's still too many egos in the room, and people have not checked their egos in regards to being able to get a deal done. This is obviously going to hurt the fans because there are hardcore baseball fans out there that want to see this product and they're not seeing it. And there are certain people that live around getting to spring training. There's that lull when the Super Bowl is over, and for some people, they're like, okay, you know what? When the pitchers and catchers report, they want to get to Arizona, they want to get to Florida, and they want to see some action. That's not happening right now. And then, of course, the stadium workers. Those people are hurting because you know what? If there's no season or there's a partial season, then what about those workers that go to the stadium? They're not going to get a check. You're going to see people from within the league offices and some of the team offices who are let go because the revenue's not coming in. So those are truly going to be the people, unfortunately, who suffer the most in this. Like I said, greed and egos are running the show in Major League Baseball. But the last time we saw a work stoppage was 1994. And of course, the home run chase of the late 90s brought those fans back. I don't know what Major League Baseball is going to be able to do this time around to get those fans back because, unlike 94, I don't think as many people are going to be willing to forgive baseball for this. And with there being so much more on the horizon for sports fans in general, football, basketball, hockey, the popularity of soccer is growing in this country. And then on top of that, so many different elements for young people in regards to social media and different aspects out there. I don't see those people gravitating back to this sport. This is a Major League Baseball problem that they created. Of course, the owners have put Rob Manfred as the front man, and they're going to leave him holding the bag, and they're going to get out of town in their getaway car and go out and do whatever they want to do. But honestly, this is a sad day. It's a sad connotation. And honestly, I have never, for the past couple of months, I've never been optimistic about us getting a full slate of games or even a season in general due to, and to give you an example of that, I haven't even spent 1 minute to work on a preview for the 2022 MLB season. That's how pessimistic I am that this does not get done. It's sad. The fans are going to suffer. The stadium workers are going to suffer as well. And at the end of and anybody who owns a business around the stadium, like a bar, restaurant, a hotel, you name it. But at the end of the day, there's no deal. I don't see a deal getting done between now and the deadline tomorrow. I would be surprised if we had a shortened season. I really would not be surprised to see no baseball at all in 2022. This is the point that we're at. It's a sad day. And let's see what Major League Baseball can do to rectify this problem that they themselves have created. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you are on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.